10 seconds to go.
Hello and welcome back to the Battle of Central Europe here on HeflaTV HitBox 2. I'm Grant and I'll be joined by Mike Lors for Game 2 of our Best of 2 series between Lajons and House of Gamers.
Currently, the score stands 1-0 in favor of Lajons after destroying House of Gamers in the last match. I mean, this is the last game of the day, and hopefully House of Gamers can scrape together a win. They haven't won anything so far, and honestly, it looks like they're a little bit on tilt. After losing 5 in a row, it's completely understandable, as, I mean, if anyone is going to lose that many games in a row, they will probably not be performing up to their, peak, but certainly from what I've seen of House of Gamers today, it has not really been up to scratch.
Yeah, definitely. They'll start things off in game number 2 with the first pick Slark. Honestly, I'm not sure this is the change of pace that they needed. I kind of like that they went for something different in the first game between Lajons, and it had the potential to be a really explosive draft for them, but it also had the potential to completely fizzle, and unfortunately for them, it fizzled.
Dyer's pick.
Yeah, and it's going to be Lajons picking up the Jakiro first. Once again, they don't have a Death Prophet or anything amazing like that to combo with it, but honestly, do they need it? Jakiro is the first pick, is going to spell a very similar type of opening for Lajons, and House of Gamers, honestly, with this Slark, very similar in how the lineup behaves as compared to their last draft, which it didn't win, so I guess you shouldn't really be going with the exact same strategy. It wasn't even like it was close to performing well, like it just got smashed at every single turn. So I seriously hope they deviate away from that type of super aggressive, all-in on the pick style. It's a nice attempt at shaking things up, but certainly not. It didn't do its job. It didn't win the game, obviously. So they have to do something different. And with this Slark first pick, I don't know. It seems like they might be stuck on this particular strategy.
Yeah, I think that's fair. To be fair, I think that Slark would have fit a lot better into the game number 1 draft than a Naga Sarin. It would have been able to do something at all. But right now we're in game number 2. Lions are going to follow up with an Ogre Magi after the Jakiro. They're the ones that are slanting towards a super aggressive draft. And if House of Gamers are going to invest that heavily, they could also, I don't know, shift gears and pick up something that can carry later as well. House of Gamers right now, they have a Slark and Earthshaker, which are usually able to perform Slark a little more volatile than your Earthshaker, but it's still a decent start to your draft. Even though they're both melee, they don't really get into each other's way that much.
Yeah, so Shaker Slark, it has the ability of being a little bit defensive, which I think House of Gamers should try to play a little bit more so, especially up against what looks like an aggressive lineup from Lajons. So being able to disengage with a Fissure, with a Dark Pact to pounce away, is certainly going to be very useful for House of Gamers. That being said, Lajons have a lot of chain stun, and if they somehow catch Slark off guard with a Yule Scepter Ice Path or something like that, or a random Fire Blast from Fog of War, then it really doesn't matter what defensive skills you have, as you'll just be dying anyway. Lajons should be looking for a little bit of Bloodlust synergy here, and if House of Gamers are ill-prepared for it, then why not go for another Lycan? It's going to be a Doom to get banned out first. House of Gamers is going to try to protect their Slark and their Shaker both with that pick, but I don't know. It seems like Lajons are just on an aggressive path, and Doom is not going to fit into that.
Yeah, I don't think that Lajons would have really picked up a Doom. He completely fell off the face of the earth as far as the pick is concerned, and for good reason. He doesn't really offer much in the counter push department, and although Doom is a devastating spell, the rest of the heroes kind of lackluster. Although he can always ensure his farm, which is nice, is definitely punishable. As for the next couple bans, we're going to see Batrider and Ancient Apparition taken out of the pool. As far as offlaners are concerned, Centaur's the first one that comes to mind. Nature's Prophet's also available. I think it's Lion's choice as to which one they want. Unless this is an offlane Jakiro, which it could be.
Yeah, it is possible, but I mean, if you just won the game off of Jakiro, who's played as, that deathballing, pushing core Jakiro, then there's really no reason to go for it again. It is going to be an Ancient Apparition now being banned out. It's a great partner for the Ogre Magi, and Lajons with the Keeper Light pick, they're very clearly choreographing the fact that, yes, they want to push, and with the Lycan, that's just confirmation. It is going to be, once again, Lajons on the war path, and, well, they won't have the Keeper Light to worry about. I don't know how much House of Gamers were going to be considering that, but House of Gamers, they need to pick up some tools to defend against this. They need super strong laners, and already with Shaker Slark, it's okay, but nothing too amazing.
Yeah, they're going to go for Mirana, and she's just a middle-of-the-road hero that I don't think really is up to snuff. I think Razor would have been a good choice for House of Gamers if they really want to avoid Razor, maybe a Viper for them, but Lajons, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Except for not having the Tide Hunter in this draft, if you just swap out that Ogre for the Tide, it's exactly the same. They're probably looking for a different offlaner as their next choice, but I don't know. Still, Lions, they're looking really strong, and House of Gamers, they go for a Void. I'm not really feeling their draft at all. Faceless Void, the Chronosphere is nice in and of itself, can set up for some arrows, but none of the other heroes really benefit from him. It's just going to be a Void.
I think I would really like to see House of Gamers, or I would have liked to see them pick up something like a Centaur. I mean, someone who could start fights and pick up a Blink Dagger, or even before then, just go super aggressive and put a whole lot of burst into Lions. Faceless Void needs a lot of space and time to farm. Kind of the same as Slark. They can get occasionally something going before that, but against what Lions have, that seems very, very unlikely. It's once again going to be House of Gamers trying to get a little bit of farm here and there, which is a perfectly reasonable way to go, but not if you're up against this much push. I mean, for Lions, they're going to be doing so much damage just very slowly. I mean, with no commitment. They have the Familiars to poke away, they have Liquid Fire. All of that is going to be bloodlusted, not to mention the Wolves and the inevitable Necro books for them. It's going to be an Invoker ban out for Lions. It's, again, them trying to protect their push as much as possible. And at the same time, Chronosphere Sunstrike is a thing. But I don't really think Lions have to worry about protecting their push. I mean, House of Gamers have Earthshaker to counter push, which is good. They have Faceless Void to initiate, which is also pretty good, but that's certainly not good enough. Lions, why not go for the Abaddon again? I mean, it is going to make it a weird lineup with the offlane situation, but who cares? I mean, they're so strong right now.
Yeah, definitely. As far as Lions last ban, the Invoker, I don't think there's anything scarier that they could have taken out, so I think it's completely fine. House of Gamers at this point, it's probably a support Mirana with Earthshaker, and I think that's the best way that they can go about laning this, leaving them something for the mid lane. Lucky enough for them, they'll kind of know where Lions are going to adjust their lanes, but they have a decent amount of flexibility as well. Worst case scenario, they can like throw the Jakiro mid, and there's hardly a matchup that Jakiro actually loses to. That said, Viper and Razor are both in the pool, so House of Gamers could just go for something along those lines and ensure the lane victory, which might be a good choice for them.
Yeah, I think picking either one of those is going to be of the utmost importance. Maybe trying with the Viper, since Slash Strike's previous Razor games have been honestly a little bit underwhelming. Go with the Viper. I mean, they're similar in how they behave, but hey, you might get a little bit more luck with a different hero there. And it's a hero that can hold down the fort, or at the very least try to. Or Lions can pick it up and completely deny that to House of Gamers. Do they want to go for the Razor versus Viper matchup again? Because they tried it in a previous game and it did not work out.
I'd say no, but then again, what else are you going to put up against the Viper? I don't really see a great option for House of Gamers if they want to win the lane, and if you're already picking up something knowing it's going to lose the lane, that's not a great situation to be in.
Yeah, you have to go in expecting to win, or at the very least break even. Like, I think that's a fair assumption. Razor versus Viper, your expectation is, okay, the lane is going to be even. We're going to trade CS, we're going to trade hits, we might die a couple times assuming rotations, or just go for a Tinker. I mean, if you're talking about counter push, it really doesn't get much better than March of the Machines, but it's once again going to be a situation where I fear for the Tinker's ability to get farm, especially after the Ancient change. Even if that wasn't there, I mean, even if the Tinker was able to farm Ancients, he will be under so much pressure in this game.
Yeah, you have an Ogre Magi Visage that can roam in onto you, and you have a Viper, which is already a terrible lane for Tinker. And I don't know, even though Tinker is going to be a really nice counter push for House of Gamers, is it going to be enough? I'm not sure. I think Mirana and Earthshaker are going to have to spend a good majority of their game sitting behind this Tinker to make sure that he doesn't outright just die and completely become a liability for them. And at that point, they're throwing a Faceless Void towards the offlane is going to get not that much, and a Slark towards the safe lane is going to be up against a Jakiro, presumably, and that's also not a happy place to be in. I have no idea what's this about Pizza, but yes, I would agree. Pizza sounds pretty good right now. On the Radiant side, we're going to have House of Gamers, with a moment taking up the Mirana. He's going to be followed by Faith and Strangers, played by the Earthshaker SLHC, going to be playing on Faceless Void, Tinker by Slash Strike, leaving last but not least our Slark, played by Malum.
Yeah, and on the Lions side, we have playing the Ogre Magi.
Right,
it's going to be Stolen. Jonas Safan is once again going to be taking up the Jakiro with kicks on the Viper era, once again on the Lycan, Bland once again on the Visage. Very similar draft as last game. I think the real difference for House of Gamers is that they have supports that could certainly make things happen from level 1. I mean, if you land a Fissure into an arrow or just an arrow, that's fine. You could get kills, and you can very easily capitalize off of that, keeping Lions down while at the same time keeping Slash Strike's farm up. It's going to be potentially very nice for House of Gamers, but only if they land those skills. And landing a freehand arrow, or a very minor freehand arrow, like Fissure is a little bit of help, but not that much, it's going to be difficult. But if a moment can land it up, then they could certainly take an early game lead.
Yeah, definitely. Since you don't have to block Ancients of Tinker
30 seconds
anymore,
to
since
go.
you can't farm those effectively at all, I would like to see Lions maybe make an aggressive rotation towards the jungle and take out his medium, especially, and large camp away from him, as that's really where Tinker is going to be forced to jump into in order to get some farm later on in the game. Laning phase for Tinker up against a Viper starts out pretty nice when you get your first point up into Laser, and Viper doesn't have extra points into Nether Toxin and Poison and what have you. It starts out pretty well, but it's all downhill from there. Once Kix gets, like, level 3 to 5, then the lane's pretty much just over for the Tinker. Slark's gonna start things off by eating an Ignite and going up towards the high ground. Does get the Regeneration Rune before hopping, but that doesn't help you, as it's taken off by the Ignite. So Malum's going to be forced to use a little bit of mana, as is Sullen. Traded blows pretty evenly.
We do see Mirana setting up potentially for this Viper. If an arrow lands with a 5-second one, I think it'll just be the death of the Viper. He doesn't have anything skilled up. Oh, Nether Toxin. This is actually a pretty nice opening if this Viper gets tagged with an arrow. This angle is very narrow, though, and I don't know if Mirana is going to have an opening. I mean, she may be able to land it. Maybe. It seems very, very iffy, though, and until she does make a play, she's just wasting her time right now.
Yeah, I think the bigger thing that she's going to be waiting for is the courier snipe, and just her being off the map is putting a little bit of pressure onto the Viper. I think that's the reason why he's been playing so defensively. That's working. They do get the arrow onto Kix. It's a fairly long one. They have Laser, and getting in front of him for the right click. Kix might end up falling here. They just need a little bit more damage. Laser secure to slash strike. Gets the first blood. As soon as I move my camera off of the Mirana, she lands the arrow. So it's going to work out for House of Gamers.
Yeah, I mean, everyone knows what happened. Arrow being thrown, arrow being landed, and that's exactly what House of Gamers need. For, if nothing else, just to give them a little bit of confidence moving forward with this game. I mean, having a first blood on the enemy Viper is huge, and getting it on your Tinker is even larger still. So the Viper is going to be holding firm on this lane. That's to be expected. But if you can slow him down at all, then that's going to be extremely useful. SLHG is going to be fighting up against Blan up towards top. This Faceless Void does have a time walk, but has to worry potentially about a Lycanthrope landing his right-click damage in. But in the meantime, it is a rotation down to the bottom lane from both the Mirana and Earthshaker, going to provide a little bit more help for Malum, not having the best of times versus the Jakiro and the Ogre. Are they still talking about pizza? Was he eating all this time? He landed an arrow while eating pizza. That's impressive.
Huh. I have no idea what they're talking about. I'd love to know.
Guys, please enlighten us.
Yeah, usually PP means postpone when you're talking about Dota games, but
No, it's pause, please.
pause, please. Oh, there you go. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, that used to be a thing for like Brood War.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was I don't know if you know this, but like there was an event where a player typed PP for pause instead of PPP, which is like the accepted thing for pause, and they had to disqualify him because Kespa are assholes. But yeah, it has meant pause for a good amount of time, and hopefully we're not going to have one of these situations where we're going to be disqualifying anyone, because I like to think that we're not Kespa. We're not literally Hitler over here.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard of the incident. That's about it.
All right,
that's the end of the story. That's I have nothing else to say. Honestly, I'm drawing a blank here.
Yeah, so we're gonna assume that everyone's taking a pizza break, and everyone needs a pizza break in their lives, so it's kind of understandable. Although I would prefer if it waited until after this. It is pretty late in Europe, like it's 10, and they've been playing for a long time, so maybe they just haven't eaten anything. Maybe like low blood sugar is why they have not been performing. House of Gamers, they just need something in their system.
Yeah, I think that's fair. So, House of Gamers, this pizza is going to reinvigorate them, and to be fair, their early game is starting out decently well. Although they're being out CS'd by Lions, they get the first blood on Tinker, which is arguably the best hero to get it on their side. Yeah, so, I don't know, it's fairly even. This is not going to maintain the status quo. I think Lions are going to continuously pull ahead unless there's more arrows landing, but looks like we're going to play, and both of the teams are going to have to wait for their cold pizza.
Nah, cold pizza is fine, or you can reheat it. That's actually really delicious, but yeah. It looks like everyone is eating pizza in this game. I feel a little bit left out.
Yeah, I want a pizza. I'm gonna go order one. Be back in a sec. Let's get back to this
Pause, please,
game.
guys. Guys,
Pause,
ordering
please.
pizza too.
Of course. Right now, Earthshaker's going to make his way towards the mid lane, wrapping around behind the Viper. He has some Rana in tow as well. This could be another kill onto Kicks, which is much needed. Although Viper should know this is going on for now, he's in a bit of a compromising position, in range for a fissure. But now the pings come out from the Ogre, and Kicks shouldn't get caught up by this. He's going to go straight towards the north.
And this is also a very aggressive build coming out from the Viper, going for no points in the corrosive skin, not even one for value. He's going to get hit with the laser and the fissure. Arrow's going to miss, but it doesn't even matter because Viper is not tanky enough to withstand those types of skills. I mean, granted, versus a laser, which is pure, the corrosive skin actually doesn't do anything. But if you already got ganked by enemy magic damage, you could expect that to happen again. And at which point, just 1 point in corrosive skin for value it should be the build for Viper, quite honestly, like at the very least. But he's going for an aggressive, quite frankly, greedy build, and it's costing him.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting him to die there. I thought he knew what was up. Ogre was pinging the heck out of the trees where the Earthshaker was, and he ends up just getting a little too cocky, eats a laser and a fissure, and that was it. Even though the arrow doesn't land, it wasn't needed.
Still in the bottom lane, though. Malum is fighting up against Jonathan Fan in less than ideal circumstances. Solon occasionally dipping in and out of this area, just trying to help out potentially a little bit, but I mean, Slark for the most part is getting kept down. As Viper is continuing on with this aggressive build, Nether Toxin and Poison Attack, is it even working for him versus the Tinker? I mean, he is holding on to a CS lead, so I guess the aggressive build is technically doing its job, but it's certainly costing him more than it's gaining him. And Tinker, level 3 laser, level 1 heat seeking, it looks like he's just going to go for a pure nuking build, and I don't really know if I like this. I have not been able to see Tinker that much post-change to the Ancients, but for now, Solon's going to be lined up with an arrow into a pounce. Easy kills for this bottom lane. Slark's going to take that one home. It's House of Gamers leading 3-0.
Yeah. Although, I think that the laser rocket build is the better build for Tinker now, since you can't do Ancients and farm as effectively. I think getting kills is a better way to do it. I don't think this is the game to go for it. Arrow down in bottom isn't going to land. Now I'm still taking a truckload of damage from Jakiro. Ice Path misses, however, and he won't die to this, although he's not going to be looking too great either. Forced to munch through the remainder of his tangos.
Well, it's not going to be a huge deal for Jakiro, as he's still holding on to the lane pretty decently. Yeah, I think, like, the line of thought is good as far as Tinker in a vacuum. Like, hey, I can't farm these Ancients. It's a lot more difficult for me to do so. Might as well just get these two very hard-hitting skills. But you know you're going to be pushed, and if you pick up a Tinker to counter-push, and you don't have Martial Machines, then you're not going to counter-push. Quicks in the meantime, hit with a Fissure and missiles once again. That lack of corrosive, only level 1, not helping him. Once again, it's going to be his third death. Yeah, 0-3-0. Viper, you get all the CS in the world, but if you can't stay alive, it doesn't really matter. Every single time Earthshaker just lands Fissure just a little bit, it's enough for Slash Strike to finish off the kill.
Yeah, and this is the strength of Tinker's build as well, and when both heroes are going for the aggressive build, I think Tinker has a much better time than we kind of made it out to be. When both heroes go for the defensive build, March coming up from the Tinker and corrosive skin from Viper, it's a pain in the ass to deal with as a Tinker, because you're always getting that corrosive skin damage, and oftentimes Viper's able to trade a lot more effectively with just a point or two into Nether Toxin, but in this case, especially with the gank support, Tinker's coming out ahead, although even in the CS, he's 3-0. And getting the first blood on top of that, these Boots of Travels are going to come out a nice time, and he also gets a free bottle refill from the Earthshaker TP.
Yeah, I mean, it is mostly because of those supports. We have not seen a single rotation from Lion supports being targeted towards the mid lane. If that happened, then yeah, sure, the aggressive build from the Viper will be able to actually do something. But until then, he's all alone, and an aggressive build all alone is definitely not as good as an aggressive build with support, as we've seen from Slash Strike, who has gone for said aggressive build with said support. So it's House of Gamers making sure that their mid lane is not going to be losing, and they're doing a pretty decent job at it, though Tinker still technically low on the CS because of, you know, the fact he's facing up against Nether Toxin. That's very difficult to compete up against. He's still going to have very quick Boots of Travels, and you know, that just means he's going to be able to teleport to the top lane, to the bottom lane, lend that additional magic damage, maybe pick off Era with the help of a Chronosphere, something like that. And these are the type of plays that House of Gamers need to make in order to keep Lions from getting really too big and then pushing very early on. A moment of faith in strangers. They're going to look for a rotation. They might run into a courier, though they are looking for someone. I don't think they're going to be happy with finding Era. That's probably not the hero they wanted to run into, as Faith in Strangers now going to chase down. He's going to launch a Fissure. Is this going to corner Era? Yes, it will. I mean, it's not going to be relevant since he runs the other direction anyway. Slash Strike is going to run for Solon. That's going to be an Ogre Magi stun with an arrow. Now the damage from Slash Strike going to get put into the Ogre. He's getting a lot of damage turn to him. Kicks with a lot of damage himself. Is not going to die as Ira does swoop in to secure that kill. In the meantime, a moment looking for a leap out. He will be able to survive. Everyone from Lions dropping low, but it is a 1-for-1 trade in the end. That's dropping a killing spree for a Tinker. Or dominating, rather.
Yeah, and it's going to be in the pockets of the Lycanthrope, which is really good for Lions. If Tinker didn't hesitate, he would have killed off the Viper yet another time, although not super relevant, would have been nice for him. It is a Slark getting gone on in bottom. He's going to eat the Fire Blast as well as an Ice Path, but he'll be able to back out of this, not even forced to pop the ultimate. Malum should be able to regen safely, especially with some defensive Fissure support coming up from his Earthshaker.
They're even going to bring the Void into this one. They wanted to use a Chronosphere right now. Malum's going to jump straight in with the Shadow Dance. Ice Path is going to slow him down. Arrow will not connect. The Faceless Void, actually, he canceled his TP. Or was it? Yeah, it was the Faceless Void, I think, coming in. Either way, he's still going to stick on the top lane, and now the Wolves are going to start pecking at him. There is a Time Walk available, as well as a defensive Chronosphere, although I don't really know if he has many great options. He's going to Time Walk away and be just fine. Meantime, bottom lane, they're going to go in. Soul Assumption dropping Faith Exchange is very low. He's going to try to hide in the corner. Malum, without any way of supporting this Earthshaker, not really going to matter because Solon's not going to go in for this one. Now Jonas the Fan going to be brought down very low by the Slark. Just solo. Jakiro's going to fall. Ogre Magi will kill off the Earthshaker in the end, but now he's stuck in a corner, and Malum just waiting for his cooldown. Doesn't have that much mana, but if he lands a single skill on Solon, that's a kill. And if he doesn't, it's probably not a kill. Although, Who's It Travels up on the Tinker can potentially come in and help out Malum. Here comes the Mirana, actually, looking for an arrow opportunity. Pounces once again going to miss a moment. Has a pretty clear line here. There's the arrow shot. Stars are going to fall as well. Solon needs a couple more hits to kill him off. They will get him down. 7-2, and House of Gamers are pretty much replicating the same exact game that Lions had in game number 1, except this time it's House of Gamers to take the lead.
Yeah. Tinker, even after that death, is able to get a really fast boost of travel, and this is scary. He doesn't fully commit towards the 4-4-0 build, now is working in towards March of the Machines. So Slash Strike, I think this is kind of the way to go. I used to really like going 2-2-4 on Tinker, but it's not going to be necessary. Chronosphere up top is going to come out into Era. They do have TP support coming out from aforementioned Tinker. With the laser, will be able to secure the kill off onto the Lycanthrope. And although we didn't talk about it in the draft, Tinker does benefit very heavily from that Chronosphere, being able to drop down a stack or two of Marching Machines or a laser missile. It's a lot of damage.
Just laser, rearm, laser a little bit down the line. Like, that's a truckload of pure damage that whoever is stuck in that Chronosphere is not going to be happy to receive. Push in the bottom lane is going to be stymied for now as Slash Strike does teleport in. Arrow's going to whiff, and so will the Pounce. Jonas the Fan going to turn around and try to fight against Slash Strike. He's not going to get out of there, but in the meantime, a moment, being chased down by both Solon and Bland will be brought down in trade. Actually, Jonas the Fan, well, he got a little bit of distance on him, but it is going to be a trade in the end. But House of Gamers only loses support Mirana, and they take down a core Jakiro. That's very much so worth it for them, assuming they don't lose anyone else, and it looks like they won't.
Yeah, the Jakiro, although he jukes out of the Pounce coming out from the Slark, he jukes down into the Tinker, which is not a very comfortable position. SLHZ up top takes quite a bit of harass from these Lycan Wolves, but should be completely fine. I don't know, he's dropping a lot lower than I thought he would. The extra damage on those Lycan Wolves is pretty significant, especially if they get some crits. But SLHZ still toting onto a salve is going to be completely safe. Tinker, we haven't seen him rotate around the map that much. Currently sitting inside the base, is going to make his way towards top, and that should stop the push on this tier 1 tower. But Tinker or not, these towers will fall eventually, just with the constant harass coming out from Liquid Fire and from Lycanthrope and his little wolf army.
Yeah, but Lycan also has to be very careful about the potential for Faceless Void to drop a Chronosphere and then Slash Strike to teleport straight into it. As you said, March of the Machines devastating in a Chronosphere. All of his other skills still hurt a lot. Now that he's level 11, he's going to be absolutely dishing. He runs into Ira, he's going to dump his magic damage into that Lycan, drop him down to half before the Lycan shapeshifts and books it. He's thinking about turning around, maybe going for the Void, who still is 15 seconds off of the Chrono, but they can't make anything happen, not with this Mirana here, so nothing going to die up on top lane. But in the meantime, bottom, this is a level 4 Liquid Fire Jakiro, and he's just barreling down the bottom lane, and House of Gamers, they can defend this on paper, especially if they send the Tinker there, but if Tinker gets caught out at all, an Ice Path or a Fire Blast, that's going to be his death. They're going to chase down instead for Ira in the dire jungle. Won't find anyone there, as teleportation does come in. Bottom will be canceled for now. The push is going to continue, and House of Gamers, they should make a defense or a trade or something. They can't find anyone. They're going to teleport 2 heroes back. It's going to be Malum to pounce through. Solon instantly into the TP. Jonas the Fan shortly after. Everyone's going to live.
And it's going to be the tier 2 tower dropped down to about half damage up in the top. SLAC looking for the tier 1, going to chrono himself, and then Bland walks into it, securing the tier 1 tower and potentially his retreat. He has a time walk TP, and he'll use it. No way to cancel that. The ice path is way too far away. Yeah, that's a Jakiro, not a Visage. There we go.
Again, Familiar's very close, but no cigar. Visage is going to eventually be able to cancel those, but now that he can, it's a little bit too late for that one. So either way, it's a tower destruction for House of Gamers, and with the real lack of pushing on their side, any sort of tower gold that they could collect is going to be huge. I mean, they know that they're going to be losing their towers. So far, they've only lost one, however. That is going to very quickly change as more and more farm comes up on Lions, but hey, if they can keep even as long as they can, then it's going to be extremely good for them, as they will try to keep parity with gold. Top lane's going to be defended for a little while, but Jonas Fan will very quickly destroy that with the help of some familiar birds. So that's 2 towers down now in favor of Lions, and now it's really the point where their pushing is going to start to get a little bit scary. Like, this is what they drafted for points like this, where they're just going to be able to straight push towers, and there's nothing that House of Gamers can do to contest it.
Yeah, and it's House of Gamers, I think, the burden of them to find a way where they don't lose too much. Because if they don't, they're going to have a Faceless Void and a Tinker that have a decent amount of farm. And in that situation, Lions are just going to be in a bit of a pickle. And that's not to mention the Slark, who's going to be working in towards a Blink Dagger and going to give that an initiation edge as well, especially if he finds out some single targets. HoG are going to be very comfortable taking this late. Worst case scenario, they have a Mirana also to fall back on that can scale well. They're pretty well equipped, but it's going to be this next 20 minutes or so that they are going to be in a bit of a pickle, where Lions do have that bonus of pushing power. Lycan currently on the top of the network chart, working towards his Necronomicon as his next item. Still not a single level of that yet, and not going to have that completed for quite some time, but still very comfortable in the farm department.
House of Gamers are actually defending their mid lane very well. I mean, despite the nerfs on Tinker, it was pretty much nerfs that targeted his ability to get to this point. And obviously he's gone to this point with the Boots Travels and the Soul Ring. He's pretty much ready to do full Tinker things, 1 point away from maxed out March, so his counter push can even get a little bit stronger still, but for the most part it will be a little bit difficult now for Lions to actually make anything happen over on this mid lane. Like, they will certainly try because that's what their lineup is built for, but outside of just straight pushing and killing off Roshan, what can they do that's really effective with the Tinker on the field? Killing off the Tinker is even very difficult. They need the Yule Scepter for the Jakiro, and that's not quite up yet. They're going to Chronosphere Kicks up onto the top lane. Slash Strike is there as well to dump a whole bunch of damage, but he will get torn to shreds by Ira. Now going to look for the Faceless Void. Going to try to TP. This Void not going to make it out. That was awfully bold for the Faceless Void, but it's going to be a 2-for-1 so far. Malum on the bottom lane might make it a 3. Well, he's going to leap down, and it looks like he might be able to survive. He does have Shadow Dance, going to get caught in the Ice Path. Instantly, the Pact will dispel that. Now into the Shadow Dance, he will be safe for now, but the tower is going to be denied. That's a little bit unfortunate for him, but at least he gets a little bit of gold from that.
Yeah, very unfortunate for Slash Strike. He TPs into a Chronosphere and then can't get a laser off onto the Lycanthrope. Despite Viper being laned as a core, this Viper doesn't really have core farm to back it up. Currently only Power Treads Aquila, very lackluster for a Viper who's honestly had a terrible time, so it's a great trade for Lions. If you can trade away the Viper for just the Tinker, I'd say that that's worth it. Then you get the Faceless Void on top, and both of those kills going into Lycan can't really get much better than that. Jakiro is going to be pursued by Malum inside the river. He is able to land the Ice Path. I don't think that's enough to save him. However, pounds up to the high ground. He does have an Ogre Magi now backing him up. Arrow's going to be juked by Jonas Sunspan, whether he knew it or not. And Malum is dropping very low to the Ignite as well as to that Liquid Fire, but with his regen from his ultimate, it's going to be enough. Only barely, however. And now behind the enemy tower, looking to clean up somebody, and that somebody is not going to be close enough. As Jonas Sunspan is towards the left.
Well,
really wants it.
And Pack, trying to get a little bit of distance, does get rid of the Grave Chill. Jonas Fan looking to turn around. Ice Path's going to catch Malum. Now he needs a little bit more stun. He's going to pounce out right into the hands of Ira. Instantly to the Shadow Dance. Malum's going to regenerate a little bit, and it looks like he will be fine, albeit barely. You kind of have to go for those types of pickoffs as Slark. It's not really going to cost him that much. He's going to be forced to back off. In the meantime, the rest of House of Gamers making good with the space bought by that Slark. Are going to take down this Joan tower. It might be denied, which is the second tower denied. A little bit unfortunate for House of Gamers, but again, they get a little bit more map control, and really that's all they want. They want to buy themselves space. Malum, though, is going to hit with the double multicast. He will once again be able to pounce away, however, Familiars and Soul Assumption. That burst damage is huge, and he will be brought down. Now Ira, in the wolf form already, is going to claw down the rest of that tier 1 tower. Slash Strike has to set up some March layers, and this will stop Lions pushing its tracks. But hey, Lions get the tower, and they get a kill.
Yeah, I still think that this is within reasonable limits for HoG, what they're losing now, but they can't do that anymore. If they lose like the Slark, Tinker, and Faceless Void unanswered, they're going to be in a bit of trouble. Slash right now has his Blink Dagger, so catching him out is almost impossible for Lions at this point. They don't have any great Blink initiation. Eventually Jakiro might think about it. He doesn't even have his Yules yet, however, and Ogre Magi would love to, but even so, their ability to catch him out over in the sidelines is very limited. Roshan, the last has gone to the Dire, as well as the Aegis picked up by the Lycanthrope, despite a couple of marches down inside the pit. Doesn't actually matter much at all. Still, I'm not sure how much this Aegis actually means for Lions. I don't think it's going to get them high ground at the very least.
Yeah, I mean, up against the Tinker March, it's so damn difficult to do it. Even if you do have Aegis, like, you're kind of just using Aegis for Aegis' sake. You're not actually doing anything with it if you sit in the March. So that should be Lions trying to avoid those types of scenarios. Really, the best item that they could pick up is the item that Jakiro just has, the Yule Scepter. It's an item that's going to let them have a chance at picking off this Tinker. If you catch him, for whatever reason, with the Yule Scepter into an Ice Path, most of the time he's going to die. The only hard part is actually doing that, and, well, before then they had no chance. Now they actually do have a chance, but this Tinker is going to be a very, very elusive hero, and Lions, well, they might apply a little pressure here and there. Honestly, I think it's going to be House of Gamers that are going to be benefiting from this. This Tinker is holding his weight and then some.
Yeah, definitely. Even if they catch Yule Scepter, comboing down after is pretty difficult, and finding the Yules is going to be the hardest part. If he's playing inside the tree line, which Slash Strike, if there's anybody close, or he feels that there's anybody close, he should, there's no way that they could catch him out, except for Macro Power Ice Path coming out from the Jakiro, and they can't really use those, as without those spells, they can't kill the Tinker himself, so it just doesn't work out that way. Right now, I think the best hope they have at killing off this Tinker is just blindly finding an Ice Path. Lions, their Viper, has decided to go back for a hand of Midas, and at this point, I think it doesn't matter what he builds, so in that sense, Midas is fine.
Yeah, I think the Midas, though it is incredibly, incredibly late, like, don't get me wrong, it's a slow Midas, one of the slower ones I've seen. It's still Viper not being able to contribute anything without getting farm, and this is going to ensure that he gets something. Whereas otherwise, he would have probably been trying to scrape together, Aghanims, drums, like, these are good items for Viper, but it would have been incredibly, incredibly late. Now he's guaranteed something down the line, and it seems like the game is getting to a point where it's just all stalled out, as HoG, they're not looking to push, they're just looking to defend and really try to bypass Lions' major point of strength, which is pushing early on with Jakiro, and they so far have done that, so I like this pickup for the Viper quite a bit, actually. I wouldn't mind even seeing someone else on either side go for this item, but it looks like that's not in the cards.
Yeah. I think it's a little too late to seriously consider it on most of these heroes. They just don't have the gold. Slark could have gone for it, but I think the Blink Dagger is a little bit more useful, but I wouldn't have minded a Slark Midas either. Era going to narrowly avoid a pounce coming out from Malum, and he should be able to make his way out safely. Lycan just a little too fast for them to catch out, and even if the pounce latched, I don't think there was enough damage from the Slark to secure that kill.
Yeah, they're going to look to their mid lane for Lions to get a kill, but again, Yule Scepter for Jakiro, it's not going to connect out to anyone bottom. They're going to try to chase down some familiars. That's not going to happen either. In this current stalled out game state, Tinker, Faceless Void, Slark, Mirana, these are all dangerous heroes, and HoG, if they continue playing super defensively, they will pretty much ensure that those heroes get to that dangerous state. And Mirana's not really getting that much in the way of huge items. She doesn't even have upgraded boots yet, but, well, now, actually, Lions are going to find a nice one. They're going to take a tier 2 tower, finding Tinker in between those TPs so that they have a chance to push without March. I don't think they can count on doing that again, but they get what they can get.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a little bit more gold, and Era is very scary at this point. With a level 3 Necronomicon as well as Vlad's Aegis, he can afford to push it even if there's some March on the ground. He might even be able to take the tower then. Might feed a couple of Necronomicon warriors, but I suppose that's within reasonable limits. Faceless Void's going to go for a Maelstrom. This build, although it's fairly mid-game oriented, it does farm fairly fast, but it's down bottom where we see the kill. It's going to be Mirana with the help of familiars as well as the Ogre Magi. This is just able to kill off that hero. Slark is still in his pursuit, but he's solo. He's going to go for the Viper. That's a hero that he can feasibly kill, especially with some backup from Slash Strike, but not if the pounce misses, and now Malum's in a bit of a pickle. Going to be Viper struck up. The March, as well as the Rocket Spam coming up from Tinker, is probably going to keep him safe, as Slash Strike does make it back to base as well. So HoG, a little bit of aggression that doesn't net anything either way.
Yeah, even though losing the Mirana is not exactly the best, it's for the most part an irrelevant kill. Like, obviously, the Lions didn't get anything done with that. No towers pushed, no additional kills taken or anything. So losing the Mirana is pretty much the hero that HoG want to lose. And they will probably make those trades as much as they can. Slark will eventually get that Viper as Jonasavan tries to go for Faith in Strangers. That's the fight I was watching. But Malin finds this nice little solo pick-off on the Viper using his shiny new Blink Dagger to great effect. Now he's looking for a little bit more. Killing off Jakiro's difficult. He's going to have to work through that Yule Scepter, but he will get Moonlit, and he's now going to try to close in. He will miss the pounce, however, and now the kill is pretty much off the table. He gets lifted up into the air, and he should be fine to walk out. But either way, it's HoG now going to start to be a little bit more aggressive. They still have a Chronosphere. Now they have a Tinker with a Dagon and a Blink Dagger. So they could very easily look for these pickoffs. Whereas Lions, they still can't get anything. They've drafted themselves into a situation where if they can't push, they really can't do much of anything at all. Plus, they have a Viper who's not doing well, which is hard to calculate for.
Yeah, as this game continues on, this Tinker pick's looking even better for House of Gamers. I didn't count on them winning the lane in mid as hard as they did. But still, with the nice support rotations coming out from House of Gamers, they found themselves in a situation where right now they're favored, even though they don't hold the highest net worth spot in the game, and they're also down 5,000 gold to Lions. A lot of that's in, I don't know, heroes that don't really amount to much. You have a Viper that has a Midas, which is kind of nice, but it's not nice enough. Yule Scepter, they found the Tinker. Macropyre as well as Ice Path going to land, but Jonas Sunsfan's taking too much damage, although Slash Strike's dropped low. Jakiro can't look for that kill solo, although he might try. Let's see, is he able to connect enough? The Dagon Zap from Slash Strike will secure that kill, but now Familiar is going to be pursuing down this Tinker. He's inside the creep wave as well. Not a happy place for Slash Strike to be, despite the Earthshaker dying on the other side of the map. Blink and Soaring will keep Tinker safe, or will it? Blink again up towards the north. The Visage Familiars are too slow in order to get this kill, and he'll be alive. Safe at home. In mid, Malin's going to eat a Viper Strike as well as some poison attacks. The multicast for good measure is going to secure that deal, but it's going to cost Solon his life. And now inside the Chronosphere kicks, being focused, he's pretty darn tanky, even though he doesn't have any items to back it up. Faceless Void just can't do the damage. Now SLHZ caught inside the trees.
They're going to try to dig through. Ira has another Quelling Blade, and SLHZ going to try to TP out. It looks like he will be able to make it, albeit barely. Ira, unfortunately, with the Quelling Blade, a little bit too slow in that department. Still, it's going to be kills traded back and forth. Once again, I don't think these kills are really relevant, though. Like, no team can actually push off of this. If they got the Tinker down, then maybe Lions can make a play, but Slash Strike survived. And the heroes that ended up going down are, the less important heroes. Ogre Magi, Slark going down is kind of inconvenient for House of Gamers, but they just lose a minor amount of map control, and he's going to be back up again in no time. So these are all just irrelevant picks right now, as this game is going to continue to be stalled out until House of Gamers feel comfortable pushing out of their base, in which case Lion will have chances to fight straight up, but it's going to be more and more difficult as I think they're getting less gold as time progresses. Actually, well, it's a little bit even in that regard, but either way, House of Gamers have better late game heroes.
Yeah, I think that's really what's tipping the scales, in my eyes, towards their favor. Still, we have a Visage that's farming up. He does have the Aghanim Scepter, so Lions do have that amount of damage, and Aghanim Scepter at this point in the game for a Visage, especially with Hal, is pretty devastating. And unfortunately enough for Blind, he doesn't have the level 11 Familiars, which would be a nice boost to his power, but if he did, solo killing supports is not out of the question. It's multicast and multicast again on the Faith in Strangers, trying to TP out. Don't think it's going to happen, as if nothing else, the Soul Assumption would have finished him off, but Ogre gets the last hit. And now, Roshan, although it's not available for Lions just yet, they'd love to take that after that pickoff.
Kind of an inconvenient timer there for Lions, as it would have been perfect if it was Earthshaker pickoff straight into Roshan. That would have actually let them have a chance of making a play into one of these tier 2 towers, but because the Roshan is so inconveniently going to spawn in about another minute, they cannot go for anything, and they're going to try to take Roshan. I mean, with Liquid Fire and Lycanthrope, you kind of want to look for it every single time, but in the meantime, Jakiro, he's going to be initiated upon by the Slark. He will force staff his way out from under the pounce. Looks like Jakiro will be just fine. Here comes a little bit of support, but it's not really the correct kind of support at dealing with the Slark and Faceless Void. Lack of hard stuns really going to hurt Lions right now. I mean, nothing really is going to be happening until Roshan comes up, and even then, House of Gamers, they have a pretty good Roshing team. They don't have a Blink Dagger on Shaker, but everyone else is pretty decent.
Yeah. SLHC is going to decide to go for an Aghanim Scepter. I'm on the fence about this choice coming out from him. I think it's better now, going for Ags later into the game. But I don't think there's enough to pump into this Chronosphere to really warrant the pickup. It's always going to be nice to have 60-second Chronospheres, but is it nicer than having a BKB or having more damage? I'm not sure.
Yeah, this is the type of build that you want to get when you're playing very aggressively, when you want to keep tempo with the enemy. When this game is stalled out like this, you don't go for an Aghanims. You go for something that is extremely expensive, that has a very large impact. An Aghanim Scepter just isn't one of those items. The moment gonna get jumped by Solon and the trio of familiars. One more Fire Blast is all Solon needs, although Beatdown is just going to serve him well. However, here comes the Faceless Void. He's gonna chrono the Ogre Magi right before the Fire Blast can land, and with the Tinker jumping in as well, that's the death of the Ogre. A 1-for-1 trade. Still irrelevant trades being made. However, Lions, well, now that Roshan is up, maybe they are going to lose their opportunity of taking that, although I don't think House of Gamers know about this or really care about Roshan, honestly. Even with Aegis, they could defend.
Right now, it's going to be Malum picking a fight with Era. Not really a fight you can win. Yeah, that was just a casual mispounce into Dark Pact, and then Lycan shrugs it off. Almost a complete heart onto Era. He's going to be really hard to deal with, but the Faceless Void, not so. He's going to be almost sold up by Familiars as well as by the Jakiro. One more Liquid Fire. Let's see if the backtracks are going to be in his favor. Tagged by another Ice Path and a Dual Breath. SLHZ is dead, and that's about all she wrote. Faceless Void pickoff is going to secure Roshan, mostly for Lions. Although Slark is close, can't do anything about it. We'll just blink away.
So it's a Roshan pickup. They might lose a tower in exchange. No, everything's going to be defended. Malum is going to be playing the very annoying split pushing Slark as Visage actually goes down to the Tinker solo down, or up towards top rather. And now Solon's in the area. Got to be careful about that. Malum going to run straight into that Ogre, but he doesn't have any Tinker support, at least for now. It's still just irrelevant pickoffs continuously. They need more than one person dying at a time for either team to actually do anything with this game. Solon's going to defend up top lane. Era's going to pick up a heart, which is certainly very nice against March of the Machines and everything like that. Again, not really going to matter too much as Jonas Fan gets jumped by Slash Strike. He will not be able to get that kill. He's going for an Ethereal Blade. Honestly, you could go for whatever you want right now as Tinker, since you have all the time in the world to farm up whatever item you want.
Yeah, I think just going into the Ghost Scepter is fine as well. Eventually you'll get the Ethereal Blade, but just getting that casual pickup is going to make you so survivable up against Lions. Despite Jakiro and Ogre doing a decent amount of magic damage, as does the Visage when he has Soul Assumption, if you're able to keep yourself alive to TP out from a Lycanthrope and his creep army, that's usually enough.
Yeah, so Tinker is going to be going for that one. As far as other items for House of Gamers, we've seen this Ultimate Orb on Slark for quite a long time. SLHC going to pick a fight with the Viper. Chronosphere is going to be dropped, and here comes Slash Strike to lend that additional help. Malum's going to jump right into the Chronosphere, and he's going to get caught mid-pounce. Ogre Magi is going to unleash a multicast in the Faceless Void, making that a 1-for-1 trade. Malum's going to reap the benefits of that. He's now hunting for another kill. Solon, he's going to be spotted out by Malum. I don't know if this Slark has enough to solo kill this Ogre. He's sure as hell going to try, though. In the meantime, bottom lane Mirana is going to be brought down by Jakiro. Malum's still trying to go for Solon into the Shadow Dance now. Has another pounce and another pack, but this Ogre is mad tanky with the Aghanim Scepter. Multicast 3x onto Malum, and another multicast. Slark is down. In the meantime, bottom lane, they're pushing this one wide open. Tinker is alive, but he's going to be the only one alive. House of Gamers, they need to make a defense right now. Otherwise, Liquid Fire, the Familiars, the Lycanthrope, they're going to take Raxes right now. House of Gamers, they have to buy back, like, right now.
And they're not doing it. They're holding it on the Slark as well as the Earthshaker, and that's Barracks. As simple as that. One too many irrelevant pickoffs turn out to be incredibly relevant for HoG, despite having better late game, and I don't think that this is damning by any means, losing one set of Rax. It's still an opening for Lions, which will make pushing into the second set a whole lot easier, which is exactly what Lions needed.
The Tinker kind of caught unawares and wasn't able to firmly position himself. Lion just taking better fights around the map all at the same time. Like, all these fights have been accruing up gold and experience for both sides, really. They've, for the most part, been even trades. The fact that the series of pickoffs for Lions happened all at the same time while their bottom lane was pushing, or while the bottom lane was pushing towards the House Gamer side, was either a stroke of brilliance or very, very lucky for Lions. That's going to be huge for them taking down the Raxes. It's going to be that much easier taking down the second set, and at the very least, it's something that happened in this game. SLHG is going to drop one of the worst Chronospheres, has to time walk around the fissure to try to kill off Era. This is a Lycanthrope with a Heart of Tarrasque and an Aegis. This guy is not going to die, especially with backup. Yeah, it's kind of a wasted Chronosphere, but it's Aghanim, doesn't really matter that much. Either way, Lions now have opportunities to go for different lanes. They've broken up this game a little bit, and now let's see if they can capitalize. Solon's going to get tagged with an arrow to start things off. In the meantime, it's going to be Quicks once again to drop. What a surprise there. He's going to unleash a Viper Strike before he drops, and here comes Eero with the nice army. He's going to annihilate the Earthshaker. Now going to go for Malum. 4x multicast. Solon's skill is certainly shining through here. SLHG is going to jump to the high ground, and he will be able to TP out and survive. 2 down for House of Gamers. Meantime, Jonas and Fan not making any plays on the bottom lane, but I think Lions can try to go for this top tier 2 tower and try to force a buyback. I don't know if that's possible, but Jonas Fan trying to kill off the Tinker. If he takes this kill, it's definitely possible. That's not going to happen, however. Dagon turned around from Slash Strike with the help of a moment. Actually, the Jakiro doing a lot more damage to the Mirana than the Jakiro's taking himself. Now he's going to try to hide. Blink Dagger out, Slash Strike. Just got juked. Although Jonas Fan, he's still in a lot of trouble. He's going to get Dagon lasered. That's the end of the Jakiro. You can't full Slash Strike for that long because he has a rearm. Meantime, mid lane, House of Gamers, they have to make yet another defense. It's only the Lycan with a little bit of help from some creeps, but look at that damage that he's putting in with just one hero. House of Gamers are going to lose another tier 3 tower. They are not going to lose any Raxes here, but still it's another loss for them as Ira does get jumped, pops the Blade Mail before anything else. Now he's going to return a lot of damage to the Slash Strike. Ira's going to survive all of this. Still hasn't Aegis, even though he may be dropping right now. Oh, shapeshifting right now might be a mistake. He's now going to not have shapeshift when he respawns. Still the familiars are around doing a lot of damage to the Earthshaker, dropping him very low. Here comes Solon. Let's see how much skill he has. Not that much with no multicast. Bland is going to be focused by Malum, but Slash Strike, he's going to be brought down. Tinker has no buyback. Malum still trying to chase for Bland. He's not going to be dropped just yet, although he will die in the end. He picks off a courier. No, Dire Courier gets picked off. By the way, Lions, they still have the Lycan alive, and the mid lane is still looking pretty tasty. If the Tinker had buyback, they knew that he would have bought back by now. Malum going to Shadow Dance because of necessity. Solon going to be chased down by this Slark, but I think he will survive. Blink forward from SLHC is going to take the unrefined multicast. They're going to bail him out for now, but Viper Strike, don't think it's going to be lethal on Face Void, but a multicast will kill off the Earthshaker in the end. That's another 2 down for House of Gamers, and now the Raxes are going to be busted wide open. I think Lions might have just won this game.
Yeah, I think that's fair. 1 lane of Barracks has come backable, but 2? At this point, especially with the item choices on the Faceless Void, I'm not sure this is going to work out for them. They have a complete Ethereal Blade on the Tinker, but that doesn't help you when your tier 4s are under siege. And they might just be able to completely win this game. They're going straight for the Jugular, and indeed they can. Tier 4 tower number 1 is going to be taken down as they do get a Chronosphere, but it's not good enough. Catches out kicks, but it's the Faceless Void to take too much damage. 1 Liquidfire might just do him in. 1 chomp from Era is going to end his life, and now the tier 4 towers are almost completely open. Tinker is back up, but he doesn't have any marches on the ground. The tier 4 tower is going to fall before he's able to do so. He might get a couple off, but now they're going to dive him inside the base. 3-man Ice Path now. A moment's going to be only a moment away from death. Lions is tanking. Or Eric, excuse me, is taking the fountain and now will die, but that took a whole lot more than it needed to. Ogre Magi is going to die in the backlines to Malum as he's able to drop the gem onto the deck, and Kicks might be able to regain that before TPing out, trying to make his escape. He'll be able to stick the landing enchant totem just a little bit too long. Both Boots of Travel onto Era, they could, in theory, continue this push, but they don't need to. They can just sit back and wait a little bit, even though, in theory, House of Gamers have better buyback, or, better late game, excuse me. They don't have the items to back it up.
Yeah, 2 Raxes down, and Malum, he's going for the Scotty, but he hasn't picked up an item for a very long time outside of with the Scotty, which I assume is going to pick up right now. So yeah, Scotty up on the Slark, but Blink Dagger into 35-minute Scotty isn't actually a build, and Malum getting that item and Faceless Void going for the Aghanims, which, I mean, he's been dropping Chronospheres pretty often, so he's been making use of that Chronosphere upgrade. It hasn't really done anything for the team, so again, I would have liked to see them get a little bit more high-impact items. These low-impact items are certainly not working out for them as Faith and Strangers going to get jumped. Chronosphere is going to bail him out, but SLHC is sitting in the macro fire. He's going to take quite a bit of damage. We'll get the kill regardless. Now Bland, he's ethereal because of the Tinker, and he's going to get a little bit of space because of it. Resummoning some familiars, triple drop onto Slash Strike. He will go down in the end due to the Dagon. But really, House of Gamers, they can't conveniently push off of this one. Top lane is being pushed by a Moment who will land an arrow into Solon, but this Ogre is pissed, and you don't want to be too close to that if you are Mirana. Solon is, packing so much damage right now, and Mirana gonna run straight into the Viper. Might Moonlight Shadow to safety? No, the leap might actually just have killed her off. No, she's gonna stick up. That might have killed her. No. Moonlight Shadow. Mirana might live. I don't care what's going on in the backline. Tinker kills off the Ogre Magi. A Moment lives, guys. A Moment lives. Hallelujah.
Yeah, the Ogre is going to be killed off by the Tinker, although the Mirana can't pick a fight with him. The Tinker sure can. He now has the level 3 Dagon as well as the Ethereal Blade, which is incredibly damage efficient for this point in the game. A Moment might not live, and he's going to die mid-leap to the tick damage of the Viper, and Viper is able to TP back to base as Malum just doesn't have the damage to kill him off.
Oh, and now Ira's going to start fighting with Faith and Strangers. I don't know if this is a fight that Earthshaker really wants to take. He's going to get a lot of damage returned to him by the Blade Mail. Now Ira, he's just got to run. He has to worry about Slash Strike incoming. Yeah, he's going to lose his Necro units. Not really a huge deal there, but Ira, he's going to back off and be just fine. This Blade Mail is actually doing remarkably well for the Lycan. Usually it's BKB, so that you don't have to worry about those types of things, but he's been getting the Blade Mail off pretty much every single time he's in trouble. And at the very least, it's dissuading House of Gamers for going for this Lycan, and it's been working.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when you look at it, outside of the Earthshaker into the Mirana Arrow, there's not much they has to worry about. And with the Heart, incredibly tanky. If he went for, I don't know, maybe a Satanic next, he could go for Abyssal. I don't think it really matters what Arrow builds. He's still going to be ridiculously hard to bring down, and very difficult for the enemy team to deal with, just with the damage that he's putting out. Assault Cuirass is also an option.
All right, so items everywhere for Lions. As you said, Assault Cuirass could be down the line. 2,200 gold on the Ogre Magi, 1,900 on the Visage after picking up that Rod of Atos. And the Viper, slowly farming away in the background with the Hand of Midas, has picked up a Sanj and has some Hand of Midas ready to go again. Faith in Strangers is going to be jumped, and he is not going to have enough time to unleash a single spell before he drops. Now Gem back in the hands of Lions. Top lane tier 2 tower is still alive. I don't think that's going to be dropped this game, as they might just go for the GG straight away. They're going to try to chase after this Slark, but that's probably a waste of time. I think that bottom lane or mid lane is just going to be pushed, and if this game ends, I expect the top lane to be intact while that happens.
Right now, Mirana Ultimate's going to be spent, but nobody's really in position to take that fight. HoG know exactly where Lions are. As a 5-man group, they've been circled by both the Mirana and the Slark on the map, but Faceless Void might not have gotten the memo, as he's currently pushing out mid. Oh dear. He's screwed. Macropyre Ice Path, and he's gonna drop easily. Multicast for good measure.
Yeah, there's not much that you can do about that situation once you're in it, of course. Faceless Void down for another 70 seconds, and Lions, they don't know if Faceless Void has buyback, but they're certainly going to test for it. Might as well just barrel down the mid lane, see what you can force out of the enemy team. They're going to be walking through March upon March upon March, which is certainly very inconvenient, but they have a creep wave incoming, and Jonathan Fan with an Invis rune, he's hunting for Tinkers. He's going to be spotted out completely by this Observer Sentry combination, so that's not going to happen. But Lions, they want to win right now. And Tinker, he has to lay down a couple stacks in March if he wants to get this defense. Malam's going to jump forward for this Viper, but at this point, Viper's very tanky. Nice Echo Slam from Faith in Strangers, going to connect onto 3, chain stunning them perfectly. Kix is going to be dropping first, however, Slash Strike is also going to be soloed by Solon in the back lines. A little bit of help from the Jakiro there. Buyback instantly from the Tinker. That is so far a 3-for-2 trade, or 2-for-1 trade, rather. Now we're going to fly through, but now the Ancient is going to take quite a bit of damage. Malum going to blink forward, miss his pounce, however. Solon still has a couple skill casts, going to get a 2x. He gets Dagon E-bladed for his efforts, though. Jonathan Fan going to try to split off and try to save Solon potentially. Will get brought down by Malum, and it looks like Lions are repelled for now. You know, going straight for the GG, maybe not going to be the smartest move, yet still that is a lot of forced buybacks out from House of Gamers. Bland going to be chased down by Malum, going to actually turn and fight with the familiar triple stun, Soul Assumption as well. Well, the Fissure's going to slow him down. It will give up the gem back to House of Gamers, and I don't think these familiars are going to die, but Lions, they have buybacks if things get really dangerous, but they force out quite a few buybacks from House of Gamers.
Yeah, definitely. It's not the end of the world for Lions. I think they gave away a little bit more than they got out of that. Yeah, it's definitely worth it to buy back there in the 2 years, but if that happens again, they won't have buyback on the Tinker, and they won't have buyback on the Faceless Void, which means that Lions will be able to take that fight. And now with an Aegis, double life, as well as a Cheese to give the way towards the Jakiro. No, Aegis towards the Jakiro, Cheese towards Lycan. Huh, interesting choice. I suppose Arrow's not dying anytime soon. Even if they drop him down to half, the Cheese is going to be fairly reliably popped. I don't know, it definitely has its merits as well. I thought they would have just given the Aegis to him, however.
Yeah, either way, it's going to be a lot of survivability extra for Lions, and they already weren't in much danger of dying with those heroes outside of half-suicidal pushes, which have been, so far, what's been going on. We do see a little bit of creep cutting from Malum, however, he's going to run straight into this Viper. He's going to pounce over the trees, and it looks like he will make it home safely. The line has been drawn. It seems like Quix wants to push up the top lane and take that last set of Raxes, but not before Jonathan Fan gets a jump onto this Faceless Void, seeing the Tinker teleport in. Jonathan Fan just wants to get the hell out. He will lose his Aegis almost immediately to that combo of the Tinker. Now going to rearm for combo number 2. Blink out from the Jakiro, but here comes combo number 2, and that's going to instantly kill off a Jakiro with Aegis. He's down for the count. Arrow not going to connect onto Blam, but Jakiro down for another 70 seconds. All of a sudden, Lions can't push any longer.
Yeah. The combo for Tinker is a little bit more convoluted now that you have to wait for the Ethereal Blade projectile to land. But still, it does a stupid amount of damage, especially if your name is Shikiro. Even though he's generally a fairly tanky hero, he hasn't gone for any plus strength or any HP at all in his item build. And as long as he doesn't disjoint his projectiles with a Blink Dagger or with a Yule Scepter, he's going to fall to that 9 times out of 10. Ends up giving up his life twice. Tier 2 tower up towards top is being pushed by Malum solo. And now, with a little bit of backup from Slash Strike, might be able to take this tower. It doesn't look like Lions are incredibly interested in defending it. Honestly, there's not a reason to take that risk.
Just like to remind everyone that the Radiance Ancient is fully exposed, but it seems like House of Gamers are playing as if they have no Raxes at a disadvantage. Like, they're playing just as they were before, still looking for the pickoffs. Yeah, they have to worry about split push a little bit, and they will be sure to account for that, but Slash Strike, for the most part, can handle that just by himself. So House of Gamers seemingly not too phased by the fact that they're down 2 Raxes. They're even going to pick off 2 Familiars at the very least down towards bottom. Try to get Arrow Vision. This Familiar is going to survive, but that's the only one to survive, and Visage has no resummon for another 2 minutes. That's a big ultimate down, and Slash Strike actually is going to finish this last one off. So Lions, they are starting to fall apart somewhat. They still have a commanding lead in this game, being 2 Raxes up, and they're going to try to make something happen up on top, but if House of Gamers defend this could be a situation where, even though they're 2 Raxes down, they could pull this game back.
Yeah, it's definitely not out of the question. Now Slark has an Abyssal Blade, and the Blink Abyssal initiation is definitely not something to underestimate. If Lions leak one too many heroes and don't succeed in this high ground push, it could be in a little bit of trouble. I don't think losing this high ground push once is going to do it for them, but if they try this twice, oh dear. They found the Tinker on the sidelines, Yule Scepter into Macropyre, Ice Path. Chronosphere is not going to be that great, trying to focus down SLHC. It doesn't actually, or Kicks. They will be able to get him, but not before he pops off the Ghost Scepter. Tinker is down, however, with no buyback. Now SLHC going to eat the greater portion of the multicast, despite the Ogre dying. It's actually not going as great as I thought it would for Lions, and now Era trying to chase around with the Blade Mail, eating into a moment. A moment's going to be shredded. Abyssal Blade and Era trying to work into him as best they can, pounce down to the ground. More Soul Sensors are flying, but Era is dying slowly but surely. Already popped the cheese, he's gonna die, and that's going to be Era down on the ground. Buyback from Chikiro, wanting to get back in this action. Gem on the deck, Bland going to be pounced again by Malum after that fight. He currently is sitting on 36 plus charges of that Essence Shift, which is stupid. Now going to have another gem on the deck, going to use his TP to get back, and the gem's going to be picked up by the Courier. Somehow HoG trade evenly in that fight.
Man, that was a huge fight for HoG, even with getting the Tinker revealed just by random wolves being there, which ordinarily would be disastrous. The Chronosphere was there in time, not to get kills, just to keep the Tinker alive. With only the Jakiro's damage getting applied to the Tinker, he was able to survive for the most part, and at the very least get 1 Ethereal Blade combo off. That killed off the Viper, and I think he got a couple more hits with spells off as well. While all that was happening, though, bot lane, mid lane were pushing in, and the Radiance Ancient took quite a beating. Yet Lions, they have been repelled, and that was a crushing fight from House of Gamers. Even fighting through the cheese, there was no Aegis there, but still, that was a huge fight for them. And if they can make that happen again, that's going to be even closer to them coming back into this game. Of course, that happening again is going to be very difficult. The fact that Slark is doing so much damage and keeping himself alive, now that the Faceless Void has the workings of a Daedalus, suddenly damage is going to be on the table on heroes other than the Tinker. And that's dangerous for Lions, who currently are only running damage on their Lycan.
Yeah, definitely, and a solo Lycan can't really fight up against this, although Slark, he's going to take a truckload of damage from just the Visage and his Familiars. Multicast 1, they won't get the multicast the second time, but the secondary Fire Blast is going to come through. He's able to purge off that stun, juking through the trees, has a blink away, and it looks like he's going to make a clean retreat, or will he? There's no stomps available, so Visage is not going to be able to cancel that teleport. But Tinker, or excuse me, no, those are the boosted travel coming in from Era. He's going to make his way back towards the rest of his team. He still has 1 item slot to complete, but for all intents and purposes, Lycan is pretty much at the top of his game. Abyssal Blade on top of this would be nice, but even so, he's about as tanky as he'll ever get.
Yeah, I think Abyssal Blades for Lions, or Visage going for something that doesn't involve a Vit booster, something more along the lines of a Sheep Stick, can help Lions get that final push in and try to end the game. You know, just hexing up a Slark or hexing a Tinker before he could unleash his full damage combo can and maybe even will win Lions a couple of fights, but it seems like no one is going to be going for that. Even the Jakiro packing a Vit booster, I mean, health is always nice if you want to survive the combo, but it's a lot easier just to kill off the Tinker. Ogre Magi with the Yule Scepter isn't anywhere close to a Sheep Stick. And these are items that Lions at this point really need before they could convincingly take another fight, as without them, they will just get out-damaged by House of Gamers. They have to shut down all those items somehow, and that's going to be this way. Oh, Slash Strike can run straight into Jonathan Fan. He blinks straight into the Jakiro. Now Travels are coming in. It's going to be the Lycan. Slash Strike has an Ethereal Blade to potentially buy himself a little bit more time. Rearm. He's going to constantly Ethereal Blade himself, waiting for a Blink Dagger out. He will get it. Where did he go? He blinked to the south, right into Solon. That's not where we want to go. Now Tinker down for 90. This is going to be a difficult defense for House of Gamers. That was very well played by Jonas Fan. I am like 80% sure that was intentional.
Yeah, I think he was just waiting for the Tinker. It's kind of like placing Techie's Mines, except for this Techie's Mine is a giant two-headed dragon, and it gets Lions a kill, and a very important one at that. 2G Tower going to fall in a heartbeat. And now, jump in. SLHC trying to work into air, can't do enough damage. Malum's on the sidelines, trying to focus onto the Ogre, but he's going to use them up in the air. Chronosphere onto literally nothing. SLHC is going to farm up a Necro unit, but that's about it. Air on the sidelines is not doing any damage himself, but SLHC going time walk right into him, trying to man fight with the Mask of Madness. It's just not a man fight he can win unless he gets the bashes. Bash 1, not going to happen. Multicast 2, Echo Slam on multiple heroes. It's not going to do enough damage, but Arrow might fall. One more auto attack from the Mirana is going to do him in. Malum still trying to chase, or get away here. A nice Fissure coming out from the Earthshaker is going to secure his retreat. Buyback from the Void, buyback from the Lycan, and it looks like we're in for round 2. Mirana and Earthshaker both inside the base trying to heal up as much as they can before this onslaught of a push number 2.
Shaker was so integral in House Gamers taking of that fight, but now he doesn't really have everything that he had previously. No Echo Slam. Opening up with an arrow is probably the best thing they've hoped for. Slark is just going to blindly teleport in. Does not have Shadow Dance. Malum's in a lot of trouble right now. He's going to pounce back into his base, gets Force Staff back in, but now the Lycanthrope fully breaches base, and Malum, Fire Blast number 1. He's going to survive, but no, he's going to drop, but he does buy back. Multicast going to kill off the Shaker. In the meantime, they are going to try to just go straight for GG. Familiars are there, and the Ancient will explode. House of Gamers were so close to taking that, but just that one play solidified it for the Lions side. That was a great play by the Jakiro, catching the Tinker like that.
Definitely. It must be so heartbreaking for House of Gamers. They were so close they could taste it, but it's going to be Lions taking the victory. It was almost a comeback coming out from them, which down 2 racks is pretty incredible, and I don't think they should take that loss to heart. They played very well, and it's just one pickoff that completely turns the game, and when we get to this position in the game, that's pretty much how it goes. Thanks for watching. That's going to be the end of the broadcast for today here on HitboxTV/HeflaTV Hitbox 2, and I'm Grandis V, and I'm been joined by Mike Loris, and we're going to be signing out. If you like the casting you see here, you can follow us on HeflaTV on Twitter, Facebook, and on Twitch, and if you want to find the VODs, you can find those on youtube.com/HeflaMoke. I think that pretty much ties up all of the loose ends. Any last words, Mike?
Not really. Just a quick rundown of today. Album sheet on top 4-0. Commanda, second place 3-1. And then Lions 1-3. House of Gamers 0-4. So tomorrow's going to be very similar games. They're going to be running through the group again for some reason. I don't really know why, but that's what's going to happen, guys. So stay tuned for that tomorrow.